She had waited patiently, her hands folded neatly on the table, the smell of roasted garlic and lemon butter filling the air. It was supposed to be a quiet evening, a simple dinner to celebrate her promotion. But the moment she walked in, the energy shifted. Eyes turned. Whispers started. The waitress's smile was thin, the kind that hides contempt behind professionalism. When the slap came, it wasn't just skin meeting skin, it was centuries of hatred exploding in one cruel motion. But what no one knew was who was watching, and what he would do next. Watch till the end. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Amara Daniels was a marketing executive, a confident, kind woman who believed that hard work could change her life. Born in Atlanta, she had built everything from nothing, working her way up through late nights and silent tears. Her husband, Vincent, was quiet, reserved, and intensely private. To her, he was just a businessman, a man of power and protection, but she never asked too much about his past. That evening, they went to a high-end restaurant downtown. In this kind, servers wore bow ties and chandeliers glimmered above polished floors. Amara arrived first, dressed in an elegant black dress, waiting for Vincent to join after a meeting. She smiled politely at the hostess and took a seat by the window, but she could feel it. The quiet unease, the stares that lingered too long, the whispered laughter from a nearby table. She told herself not to notice. Not tonight. The waitress came with a menu in hand, her voice sharp and dismissive. "Are you sure you can afford this place?" she muttered under her breath, thinking Amara wouldn't hear. Amara froze. She'd heard worse before, but something in the tone, the sneer, cut deep. Still, she smiled, her voice steady. "Yes, thank you. I'm waiting for my husband." Minutes passed. Water was never served. The tables around her buzzed with conversation and laughter, while her service request was repeatedly ignored. When she waved politely, the waitress rolled her eyes and walked away. A couple nearby looked on, uncomfortable but silent. That silence, louder than words, tightened Amara's chest. When Vincent finally called, saying he'd be there in 5 minutes, Amara felt relief wash over her. She stood to greet him at the door when the waitress approached, voice dripping with hostility. "You can't stand there. You're blocking the aisle. I'm just waiting for my—" The slap came out of nowhere, sharp, cruel, a sound that sliced through every conversation in the room. Plates clattered. Forks froze midair. The waitress hissed, "People like you don't belong here." The restaurant went silent, and Amara, tears burning her eyes, whispered, "You don't know who you just touched." The door opened. Vincent walked in, dark suit, cold eyes. His expression hardened instantly as he saw Amara, her cheek red and trembling. The room seemed to hold its breath. The waitress, now pale, tried to explain, but the words faltered as Vincent's men entered behind him, silent, dressed in black. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. A single glance and the restaurant manager rushed forward, stammering apologies. The waitress stumbled backward, realizing who she had struck. The quiet man she thought was an ordinary husband was the same Vincent Daniels whispered about in hushed circles, the one who controlled half the city's underground. He took Amara's hand, whispered something only she could hear, and walked out. The rest of the room never forgot that silence. The next morning, the restaurant was closed, permanently. No one knew how or why. The waitress disappeared, her name never spoken again. Amara never asked questions. She didn't need revenge. She already had justice, though not in the way most would imagine. But the truth lingered. A slap born of racism had revealed something much deeper. How quickly hate turns to fear when power shifts hands. Amara spent weeks reflecting on that night, not on her husband's influence, but on the ugliness that lived quietly beneath polished chandeliers. She realized that racism wasn't always loud. It often wore a uniform, smiled politely, and struck when no one expected. How many more will have to bleed dignity before humanity finally learns to see beyond color? Comment below. What city and country are you watching from? Take care.